Hey guys, how's it going? I am WWE Hall of Famer Lita, welcoming you to General Admission Wrestling.
What's that metronome I hear? Perhaps the end is drawing near. You never hear the shot that takes you down. So say goodbye. What is yours now is mine. And I dream broken dreams. I make them come true.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friday Night Storm. It's the final episode before Winterfest. And you know what that means. That means more announcements to come. It means more matches to get set up. It means one final qualifier and so much more. We begin with Drew McIntyre on the warpath, heading into a cage match with Walter. It's going to be one of the biggest matches in European history, maybe the two biggest stars that Europe has ever produced in the sport of professional wrestling. I think there's certainly an argument for that. McIntyre and Walter across them, between them, have had dozens of championships. William Regal took us through the two of them by the numbers a few weeks ago, so if you missed that, go back and check that out on an episode of Friday Night Storm. That was before an epic rematch. Now it's time for the rubber match in a cage at Winterfest. But McIntyre's got one more hurdle. Wrestler from Italy, the expectations are astronomical. You know, we say it's arguable that McIntyre and Walter are the two greatest European wrestlers of all time, but many people, especially those of a certain age, would say that the great Bruno Sammartino is the greatest European wrestler of all time. In fact, many of them would say he is the greatest wrestler, period, of all time. That all depends on where you're from, how you grew up, and what you watch. But there is no denying the fact that Bruno Sammartino completely changed all of European wrestling, certainly Italian wrestling, and now Fabian Eichner, a longtime training partner of the Ring General, is out to face down Drew McIntyre. And if you want to start building a legacy like the great Bruno, this would be one way to do it, defeating McIntyre before his highly anticipated match with Walter. I don't want to get ahead of myself at all, but that's certainly what Eichner is going to aim to do against the WXW Unified Champion. Winterfest is coming soon. Incredible matches. The main event world title clash between Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano. The Challenger Briefcase ladder match, among others. And a major announcement that I honestly cannot wait to share with you all. I've been maybe more excited about that than anything else leading up to Winterfest. And I can't wait for this announcement. Eichner takes down McIntyre going for a knife edge, but McIntyre right back on top. When you talk about great European grapplers, William Regal has to be towards the top of your list. There's a reason why McIntyre has gotten so good in the last number of months. He's truly taken a jump from hopefully in the conversation to near the top of the pile, and William Regal is a huge reason why. Eichner with a camel clutch, and you can see he's got the crouch over McIntyre's back. McIntyre couldn't just slide out of it. He had to trap the feet. That's fundamental perfection from Eichner, and as I said, longtime training partner of Walter, so you can imagine that the fundamentals are all there. But this is exactly why McIntyre and Regal wanted this match. You will not find a closer analogous to Walter than Fabian Eichner, and if you did, well, it would probably look something similar to Marcel Barthel, who McIntyre faced down just a couple weeks ago. So McIntyre and Regal have very carefully structured out the Scotsman's matches so that he can get the ultimate preparation, future shock, and that's exactly why. McIntyre hooks the leg, no! They wanted to make sure that McIntyre is as well prepared as possible to face down Walter in a cage environment. Well, now McIntyre, this would be the statement here. McIntyre going to pick the legs, undoubtedly looking for the no true Scotsman. Eichner was ready for it, and now Eichner gets him up. Eichner into the powerbomb. McIntyre weighed in at 268 pounds. Coming into this match, and you can see Eichner turning his attention toward Regal for just a second, and that might doom him here. Eichner pulls him in, hooks the leg. Eichner, no! And surely that look at William Regal, that might have affected him, but now Eichner going into his bag. Eichner with a power bomb. Eichner has him down. McIntyre's in trouble. No! Fabian Eichner cannot believe this. The chance of fight forever, and I can certainly understand where these fans are coming from. Eichner with a spine buster. Another cover. He's starting to get desperate now, and it's a 1 count from McIntyre. The Italian starting to get desperate, but McIntyre, that was his first offense since the no true Scotsman didn't land. Now McIntyre stalking his break. Claymore attempt counter. And William Regal right up onto the apron. Eichner just completely ignoring the Brit. Trying to get McIntyre into the corner. McIntyre understanding the danger. And now McIntyre boot to the gut, and once again McIntyre future shock attempt is countered. Arm drag. Well, McIntyre and Regal wanted great preparation to face Walter. They're getting it. Suplex attempt counter. McIntyre blasts him with the knife edge. You will not find a harder hitter than Drew McIntyre this side of the pond, I'll tell you that. And now the Scotsman going to follow it up with a reverse suplex. Textbook. Regal controlling McIntyre's corner. And Regal, oh my goodness, Claymore! And Regal handing a chair to Eichner like it'll do something. Oh! We know that in the past, the Claymore has not been the deadly weapon that it has been in the past for McIntyre. Rather, it's been the no true Scotsman. But now Eichner head scissors, and McIntyre ends up against the ropes. The no true Scotsman has been McIntyre's silver bullet. No one has been able to withstand that as of yet, but now Eichner gets him up, and Fabian Eichner once again with a power bomb brought him crashing down. Eichner surely, no! Eichner is incensed. And he's going to take to the skies with a springboard moonsault. The referee's finally noticed the chair that Regal threw in there, I think, as some mocking gesture to the Italian. And what a match we have ourselves. This is incredible, and only the opening match. We've got a ladder match qualifier still to come. Johnny Gargano in the main event. And now Eichner again into the powerbomb. What a snap on that. I think McIntyre just whiplashed into the mat, and Fabian Eichner, I mean, if he doesn't get this, Eichner, he didn't! I don't know how McIntyre keeps surviving all this. This is superhuman, and now boot to the nuts, caught McIntyre, leveled it. A lariat, Eichner tried to get to his feet, McIntyre knife edge chop, he countered, Claymore! McIntyre, pinpoint accuracy, leg hooked, Drew McIntyre has finally won an incredible war. I don't know if he and Regal knew the kind of challenge that Eichner was going to put up, but surely they're thankful for it in a way. You will find no better preparation for what you are going to see in the cage. And look at this, Walter! Walter has stormed the ring, and it's one final battle between McIntyre and Walter before the action really kicks off at Winterfest. We're going to St. Paul. There will be a cage there, and Walter and Drew McIntyre will fill it up. It is for the joy of combat that we fight, the challenge of it, the feel of victory and loss. For we do not fight only when we can win. Rather, we fight when we know we must win. And those that represent the House of Black know all too well it is not loss that brings greatest pain. It is cowardice. There are no cowards in the House of Black. There are only champions. Last time we saw Priscilla Kelly, she was challenging for the United States Championship, an exceedingly popular wrestler all over the world, given all of her time on the independent scene. But she was unable to conquer Ember Moon on the occasion when she challenged for the championship. Well, how much has changed since then? Ember Moon, no longer the U.S. champion. She will be fighting Sonya Deville, who won the title under extremely dubious circumstances a few weeks ago. Meanwhile, Priscilla Kelly will be here fighting Charlotte Flair as Flair prepares to take on world champion Catanzaro. It just shows you how much things change in the world of Friday Night Storm, and I cannot say this enough. They will change some more when we get to our announcement at Winterfest. So, just keep tuning in, folks. You won't want to miss it. Charlotte Flair was particularly popular before she decided to challenge Kacy Catanzaro. Matters certainly haven't improved for the Queen. Catanzaro, one of the most popular champions in all of wrestling, male or female. And of course, it will not go over well that Charlotte Flair attacked her on multiple occasions and now is attempting to take the championship. Charlotte Flair herself has challenged for the United States Championship on 3 different occasions, coming up short on each one. Flair actually did challenge for the title almost exactly a year ago. It was New Year's Eve 2021 when Flair challenged then champion Shayna Baszler for the U.S. Championship at Storm. Baszler would go on to lose the title to Ember Moon at Nitro. And then Moon would go on to defend the title 5 times. Her last successful defense coming against Priscilla Kelly back in October. Moon would go on to challenge unsuccessfully to hold the World Championship. and then would lose the United States Championship again under extremely controversial circumstances to Sonya Deville, who she will be facing at Winterfest, if that catches you up a little bit. So here we go after that war in our first match. I don't know what could measure up to that, but we'll have to see. Kelly's first right hand barely phases the Queen. Kelly barely phased by that. And we'll go straight into the suplex. Flair right back to her feet though. Flair is extremely strong. It's going to be one of the really interesting parts of the matchup between her and Catanzaro. Catanzaro is very strong herself, but obviously her size limits the amount of raw power that she can have. Charlotte Flair will have a significant size and reach advantage, but obviously Catanzaro, the greatest female athlete in the sport of professional wrestling. So I wouldn't be surprised if Flair tries to go for more submission holds, and you saw one there, single leg camel clutch, and obviously the figure 8 submission has been the key behind both of Flair's previous wins. We saw her on Dark tapping out Tegan Knox in figure 8. Now Kelly with a moonsault. And first cover of the match from Priscilla Kelly off a beautiful picture-perfect moonsault. Gets a 2. As far as Kelly's strategy goes, obviously winning the match here will go a long way to possibly securing herself a world championship match. That's been very heavily precedented throughout the history of general admission wrestling. You've seen it many times, both defeating a champion and defeating a challenger. So Kelly has come out of the gate absolutely firing, but again, much like we talked about in the last match for Charlotte Flair, this is one of the best possible outcomes in terms of picking a challenger who is going to most closely simulate the match that you are going to have at Winterfest. Kelly comes down on the other side from that suplex and hits her with a German. Catanzaro is going to be extremely active. She's very fast, very talented defensively. These are all things that Flair is going to have to get used to. Butterfly suplex, Tegan Knox, very similar in style, so Flair, again, really preparing well. And now Kelly with a gut wrench. And Kelly will line it up. Standing moonsault press. Kelly, I think, an underrated athlete. But it's not underrated right now. I think her athleticism is precisely the part of her that Charlotte Flair was wanting to see in the tune-up to face Kacy Catanzaro, and that's so much of what we're seeing, that you're watching these challengers trying to do their best, scouting, trying to do everything they can. Flair, look at this, the backpack stunner. And that's the strength like I was talking about, and now Flair, off the stunner, goes straight in, figure 4 Flair. Can she bridge? She's gonna try. Charlotte Flair, it's the figure 8. She does have the bridge in. And Priscilla Kelly, can she reach the bottom rope closest to her? Has there been enough damage on the legs? Kelly does untangle herself from the figure 8. But you can see the pain, and Charlotte Flair goes right back on the attack. Flair with the shin breaker. And the pain of the figure 8 absolutely got to Priscilla Kelly. How much more could she have taken? Charlotte Flair now again drags her back, and Flair in excruciating will put in the figure 8 again, and now Priscilla Kelly, surely there's no way she can hang on from this one, and she can't. Kelly is forced to tap as Charlotte Flair puts on a brutal figure 8. And Kelly really had no chance. A great opening salvo from Kelly, but in the end, didn't provide enough of a challenge to the World Championship challenger. And Kacy Catanzaro, she's got to be looking at this match thinking this is a better Charlotte Flair than we've ever seen in general admission wrestling. This is much more close to what we're used to seeing from the Queen in her previous days. At one time, she was without a doubt the greatest female wrestler on the planet, and we are, I think, seeing more of a return to form when it comes to that. Flair, gotta be happy. And look at this, Catanzaro, the world champion, coming down for one last look, one last bit of revenge. Flair has been at her throat for weeks. Flair is gonna come out, and we need to get people to separate these two. This could get absolutely blistering in the space of a second. They need to be separated, and they will be. Everyone around here keeps telling me pro wrestling and MMA are very different, but I don't see it. And just like in MMA, we have idiot management signing title matches that make absolutely no sense. Well, if Ember Moon wants a chance to get wrecked again, she can have it. But you'll have to earn the title back. I will fight you in an MMA rules match. Just the second one ever. Good luck. It's been 3 months since I punked out CM Pussy. 3 months since I announced the proper 12 locker room was back in GAW. Well, I'm done talking. We're all done playing games with shitty fans. You don't appreciate greatness when you have it. You all cheer your heroes now, but only 20 years after the fact, you're willing to admit who the greats truly are. Too true. How many boos did I have to endure before people admitted what the champ really was? The proper 12 locker room is about greatness. Now, with or without the brain-dead oafs that call themselves fans. And that starts at Winterfest with the Challenger briefcase. Ladies and gentlemen, are you prepared to witness greatness? Proper 12 locker room in a day just gave us 2 new members. The man with him, if you didn't recognize, was Anthony Ogogo, former Olympic bronze medalist boxer, and this man, Wheeler Yuta, one of the most intriguing and promising independent wrestlers in the world today. Suddenly, former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Taiji Ishimori is walking into a completely unknown situation, unknown and unplanned, because this is a Challenger briefcase ladder match qualifier, the final one. The winner will join the other 5 men who already punched their ticket, and from Storm, it's Damian Martinez and Bobby Fish. Over on Evolution, Jackal was the first man to earn his way in. And he's followed by the Rookie of the Year, Takahashi. And it's going to make for an incredible Challenger briefcase ladder match. And now we know that one of these 2 men will be the final entrant, and Wheeler Yuta has put his name on the dotted line for the proper 12 locker room. This isn't the first time that Conor McGregor has sponsored a group here on Friday Night Storm. You remember the Mob, if you were with us long enough, Bobby Lashley, Zack Sabre Jr., and even at one point CM Punk. That feels like an eternity ago at this point. And now the proper 12 locker room. Taiji Ishimori tying up Yuta, and you can see Ishimori trying to use his experience to just jump on top of the Young Buck. Try not to let him function here. It's a really good call, in my opinion, from Ishimori. But Yuta, let's talk about the scouting report on Wheeler Yuta of the proper 12 locker room. He's a great athlete, underrated in terms of his athleticism. Hard striker, very good technically. And the word that I hear most often when it comes to Yuta is fearless. And I think that's meant both in his daredevil, I suppose his daredevil mentality, which would be perfect for a ladder match that he is potentially going to compete in, but also in terms of how much he's willing to learn. You can see that, you can see how much of his game, you can see how varied it is, and it's because he has very little ego when it comes to challenging his own preconceptions of himself as a professional wrestler. So you're seeing a very varied game, and he'll try to do a lot of different things. Ishimori is going to have to combat that somehow. Try here with a pump handle, half Nelson driver. Ishimori trying to use that experience, and he'll take to the skies as well. Look at Yuta though, put his right leg on top of the rope immediately, which forced Taiji Ishimori to drag him away from the ropes, covering him from Ishimori, and it's a 2 count. That's the kind of intelligence that people talk about when they talk about Wheeler Yuta, a student of the game for sure. And now Ishimori! Ishimori gets him, but again, Yuta, perfect position, puts himself underneath the ropes. Now Yuta comes in, launches in for a takedown, and now Yuta into the STF. Yuta wrenching it back. Ishimori has to get underneath the ropes if he has a chance here. Ishimori able to break the grip. But Yuta, what a great takedown into the submission. And again, that's the fearlessness and the variety that Wheeler Yuta brings to the party. Now, hoisting him up, looking for a suplex. Ishimori countered, but Yuta again. He's one step ahead of the former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, one of the best wrestlers in the world, but Wheeler Yuta on top of him, and now Yuta, look at this, a tombstone, and a tombstone stretch, but Ishimori reached out and grabbed the middle rope. Yuta forces him down, but in putting him down, basically, tombstone pile drove him, and now Yuta into the cover, and Wheeler Yuta is going to Winterfest. The layers of Yuta's game. Wow. Wheeler Yuta joins 5 other men in St. Paul to fight for the Challenger briefcase. I'm in awe because everything that everyone had said about Wheeler Yuta was absolutely correct. The variety, the intelligence, the fearlessness, it was all there. And it's amazing to watch as Yuta, you can see Ishimori put his hand on the middle rope to cause a break, but Yuta basically hit him with a tombstone pile driver to release him, and then went for the cover after a stretch, after having already stretched out the legs as part of the STF from earlier. Wheeler Yuta is a man tailor-made for a ladder match, and he'll be competing at Winterfest. So let's bring you the updated card from the Storm side, and of course, the Challenger briefcase ladder match. Bobby Fish, Damian Martinez, Wheeler Yuta from Storm, Shackle, Flyboy, and Takahashi from Evolution. The winner gets the briefcase and a chance to activate it for a World or Apex Championship shot. The Usos take on the House of Black with the Tag Championships on the line. Sonya Deville and Ember Moon now in an MMA rules match. 3 rounds, 5 minutes, knockout or submission only. It's only happened one other time in GAW history. The US title will be on the line. Will Ospreay and Marty Scurll will rematch to take on or to fight for the WCPW and MLW championships. It's another double title match as Will Ospreay, he just can't catch a break. Let's hear now from Marty Scurll ahead of that anticipated clash. It was inevitable. Will Ospreay is a villain. Will the masses still cheer for him? Of course they will. Because we all need villains. We love villains. We worship villains. But only certain kinds. The ones who won't admit what they are. The ones who lie. But I only tell the truth. And that's why I was right about Will Ospreay. And it's why when I say I will take everything you have, Will, you have no choice but to believe the one true villain. Casey Catanzaro will defend the World Championship against a reinvigorated and white-hot Charlotte Flair. Claudio Castagnoli had a chance at Intercontinental Gold stolen from him by the Black and Gold. Well, now we'll get another shot against new champion Matt Riddle. Here's what Castagnoli had to say earlier. I respect Aleister Black for everything he's done, and I respect his outlook. I have no problem with the House of Black. I just have a problem with Matt Riddle. He attacked Chris Sabin out of nowhere when he decided that he wanted to be champion, and I don't respect that. I love combat too. Let's see if Riddle loves it more than me. I don't know if that's likely, but here is what is almost certain. Drew McIntyre versus Walter in a steel cage for the WXW title. That is going to be absolutely legendary. Let's hear from William Regal ahead of that titanic clash. At Winterfest, you will be witnessing true history, make no mistake. Decades from now, people will be talking about Drew McIntyre versus Walter in a cage. We are prepared for that because all Drew McIntyre has been working on and training for are these legendary bouts. Train for greatness, and you will be training to beat everyone every day. So when I put him in the Regal stretch for 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time, pushing him to his very limit, he envisions matches like this. I don't believe that Walter has the foresight to see himself immortalized years from now the way Drew McIntyre does. And I assure you that the journey to immortality does not end. It only continues. The main event of Winterfest, 3 days, culminates with a world title match. Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano. They may be watching this clash in other galaxies for all we know. It is a fittingly incredible main event to cap off a weeks-long winter party. It's Winterfest, and we have one more match to go. Event and the final match before Winterfest. And it just continues with our theme of the day. It's a tune-up for Johnny Gargano ahead of a titanic matchup with Adam Cole. And very fittingly, it'll be against one of Adam Cole's oldest friends in Kyle O'Reilly. Bobby Fish is out. Fish will be preparing for his own potential world championship clash as Fish will go into the Challenger briefcase ladder match. He was the first man to qualify for that match. I'm sure I don't need to tell you all the implications of if Fish were to win the Challenger briefcase ladder match, but we can deal with that later on. For now, Kyle O'Reilly, he will have the unenviable task of dealing with an absolutely fired up Johnny Gargano as Gargano prepares to fight for the world title. Ever be a timeline or a universe where Johnny Gargano is not one of the most popular men in the sport of professional wrestling, but certainly given the fact that he and Adam Cole will throw down at Winterfest, gives him the distinct advantage in terms of fan popularity. And with what Cole's doing with the black and gold, well, I think it's safe to say that fans would much rather see the title on the waist of the Rebel Heart rather than with the leader of the group trying to dominate Friday Night Storm. Unfortunately, the crowd doesn't get to decide. Johnny Gargano will have to earn it, but if there's anyone that is more willing and able to do just that, I have yet to see it. Gargano and O'Reilly. Bobby Fish in the corner, his tag team partner, watching on as Gargano attempts one last huge momentum boost before his world title match with Adam Cole. Gargano, a submission right in the middle of the ring. It's a clover leaf, and O'Reilly able to deal with that one fairly easily, but you can see already it's taking its toll on the lower back. O'Reilly, nice answer back here from the MMA practitioner. He and Bobby Fish have been known to run some of the toughest training sessions in all of pro wrestling, but it clearly makes both of them better. And you're seeing the evidence here. O'Reilly go behind German with the bridge, 2 count. Gargano forces his way out. Exceptional core strength, and of course, the Gargano escape. The crossface is one of the more well-known and one of the most effective submissions that we've seen. That's not the only thing that Johnny Gargano can do, and I doubt it's going to be the only thing that we see him try here against O'Reilly. Look at this. Northern Light suplex. O'Reilly, locomotion. He got him in for a second one and tried to bridge. Gargano's feet were underneath the ropes. Good catch by the referee. O'Reilly back on the attack, and now O'Reilly, exploder. A devastating variety of suplex coming from the member of the black and gold, but Gargano able to play defense, and now Gargano gets him up, and Gargano with a dude buster. Bobby Fish up onto the apron, and you can see Fish and the referee getting into it. Fish was trying, I think, maybe to loosen a turnbuckle pad. It did its job as Gargano was looking for the pinfall on O'Reilly, but maybe Bobby Fish miscalculated because Johnny Gargano just locked him in the Gargano escape. Gargano, he's not really wrenching this. This is more of a, that's more of a hold than a submission, if that makes any sense. But now Gargano, that was the reason why. Gargano into the pin. Bobby Fish trying to do what he can. It won't work because Johnny Gargano just pinned Kyle O'Reilly. O'Reilly goes down. Gargano is headed to Winterfest. And there's got to be questions asked by Adam Cole. How do you deal with this? Gargano in his first match since returning to GAW. I should say his first match in GAW. And what a statement. the Gargano escape, and I think he just choked O'Reilly out. I told you he wasn't wrenching it because he wasn't trying to induce that level of pain that would force O'Reilly to tap out. He was actually just choking him unconscious. It's a strategy that we've seen many adopt in GAW recently, and now Adam Cole will come down, and Gargano very smartly guarding up Cole, though. He's not looking for an attack. Hey, let's give the fans what they want, huh? A main event everybody can be proud of. What do you say? Cole and Gargano actually shaking hands ahead of their main event match. Winterfest is going to be wild. That's the only way I can put it. A major announcement on top of some incredible matches, and it all goes down over the course of 1 week. Folks, thank you all so much for joining us. Have a very Merry Christmas and an incredible holiday. We'll see you for Winterfest. We appreciate you.